Hi, we've got some very interesting stuff going on in the sky right now, and a lot of it is focused on the second half of 2025, and we've passed the halfway point now, and we're in it. And so, what I want to do is talk about the astrology and the potentials and the interpretation of these planets and what is happening in the sky. Right, so what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to share with you. Now, I've got here, I suppose it's quite a complex looking thing when you first see it, but um, bear with me because I will explain it to you. And I'm just going to try and move something. No, I can't. Anyway, so I'll try and explain it to you, and hopefully this will give you a clearer picture, because I think what happens with these tables when I do them, and it is a homemade table of mine, I get the opportunity to see it all laid out clearly in front of me, and hopefully that's what you'll get too. So at the top, we have got the months of the year, and we're in 2025. And then what we've got here is the outer planets. And for that, I'm looking from Saturn outwards. So we've got Saturn there, and Uranus there, and Neptune there, and Pluto there. So I'm looking at those outer planets and their sign changes, their changes into different zodiac signs in this year. Now, I've already talked about the fact that we've got this extraordinary event where every single one of the outer planets, over a short period of time, a year or two, is changing sign. Now, Pluto has already done that, and now Pluto is firmly in Aquarius, and that's this line here. The others, however, because of something called retrograde, which means occasionally they look as if they're going backwards in the sky, not really, but they're going back down to the lower degrees of a zodiac sign. So because of that, they look as if they're going in between different zodiac signs. So they're in one, they go in the next one, then they come back, etc. So this is always a time of flux. It's always a time. What it generally means is that nobody can make their minds up. Everything's changing all the time, basically, because the change hasn't happened. It's changing. And so we're in that liminal space where nothing is settled. And that is one of the most creative spaces of all. But anyway, so at the top here, we've got Uranus. I've put these in, sorry, Neptune. I put these into colours, hoping that it'll look clear if I do. So there, for instance, we've got Neptune in green for seawater, and we've got Saturn in brown for earth. This is the colour of the elements that they are. And then for air, we've got blue, Uranus, and then Pluto is a water planet. So we've got green again. Okay, so in January, February, March, Neptune was in its own zodiac sign of Pisces. And then on the 30th of March, 30th of the 3rd there, it moved into Aries and spends the rest of the year in Aries. New stuff. Okay. Saturn, very much treading with Neptune at the moment, was in watery Pisces, okay, up to May, 25th of the 5th May, when it moved into Aries. And so now Saturn too is in Aries. When we get to September, Saturn will go back into Pisces, and that's on the 1st of September, the 1st of the 9th. And so Saturn then is back into Pisces for the rest of the year. Uranus has been in Taurus for some time, and so it's in Taurus still this year, so January, February, March, April, May, June. In July, Taurus went from, this is the 7th of July, went from the Taurus into Gemini on the 7th of July. And then it stays in Gemini for August, September, October, November. And then in November, on the 8th of November, it goes back into Taurus, going on into next year. And then it comes back into Gemini again. Okay, and Pluto, as I said, has already moved signs and is newly in the very early part of Aquarius. Okay, now when we step back and look at that, we can see that's quite a lot of movement. And when we think about how we're changing an environment, when these big players, these outer planets, they change their environment, then they are changing huge rivers, if you like, in the collective unconscious. Right, let me just stop sharing that for a moment. Right. I've actually written a blog on this so that you can look at everything I'm saying in more detail. And the address for the blog is on my website. So the blog is on my website. The address for that, so the link where you can go to the blog, is underneath in the comments here on this YouTube presentation. So please do go to that because I've put sort of like illustrations in and things like that, and share it. It would be great if you shared it. Thank you. Right, so I'm now going to look at just one second. I need to go back to something first of all. Right, okay. Right, I just want to get this year into perspective actually by looking at an astrologically comparable year. When was the last time that we had all the outer heavy duty planets connected to each other? Now, so what we just looked at was the sign changes. The lower part of the chart, which I'm going to go back to, is looking at the connectivity between those planets. They're all in aspect to each other, which means they're all in a relationship with each other. They're connected, as if they're all attending this same assembly, of planets, the round table. So it's quite an exciting year because both of those things are going on. Before I go back and talk about the second part of that table, I just want to say that we'd have to go back to 1965 or 1955 for something similar. Both of those epochs introduced big new social changes to the Western world. Among other things, 1965 witnessed the introduction of the right to vote for Black people in the USA. Now, this was quite a momentous thing because it cleared the way for a cultural transition towards equal opportunity for Black races. In Great Britain at that time, there was what's called a youthquake fashion revolution, which was symbolized by Mary Quant and her miniskirt. Now, if you're old enough to remember that, then you're just too old. No, I'm the same age. Don't worry about it. So the miniskirt, which of course has made a comeback many times over, and also, do you remember the geometric designs of op art? Remember op art being quite fashionable? Anyway, so then going back to 1955, what was different about that? And it was the beginning of the space race. And the children born in that year grew up with TV shows, 5LXL5, Stingray, Thunderbirds. And these shows were completely futuristic, totally incongruous in terms of how futuristic they were against the backdrop of the times that they were being shown in. What do they call it? Anachronistic, that's the word. They were very imaginative and very ambitious concepts. And they found a very attentive audience in those born in 1955 because in the horoscopes of those babies was this desire for change, for difference, for space. I was born in 1955. I'm very passionate about the year. Influential people such as Bill Gates Microsoft, Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs, Apple, were both born during this year. And you can say whatever you like about both of them, and lots is being said, but they were very visionary futurists, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just go back to that chart again, and I'm going to just share with you again the not chart, sorry, table. Always looking at charts. Why isn't it a chart? Okay, we're back to this table. What we're looking at now is aspects. So this is where one planet is in a relationship or in a contact, a known contact, which has a description which we can read. Okay, so, and look at this lot, right? So here are all the planets that are up here, and all of them are making a relationship or a contact or an aspect to other planets. So we have got Saturn conjunct Neptune. That the whole thing is taking place between the 2 years of 25 and 26. They're very close at the moment. I'm talking to you in July. They're very close. And there is one hit in 2026. Then we go on to Uranus trine Pluto, so 120 degrees. And that goes backwards and forwards, sort of getting closer, pulling apart, getting closer from 2025 to 28. They're very close in September, but there's 5 hits to come on that one. Then we've got Saturn sextile Uranus, 25 to 26. On the 4th of the 4th, so the 4th of April, there was the first of 3 hits, exact hits. And then on the 12th of August, that's the second of the 3 hits. This is all just jargon, so fast forward if you want to miss this. It's just for the people that like the astrology. Then we've got Neptune sextile Pluto from 25 to 32. They're close in August next month, but they've got 11 hits to come, and honestly, that goes on forever. 1932. Oh, listen to me. 2032. Huh, don't listen to me. Right, and then we've got Saturn sextile Pluto from 25 to 26, close in July, and one hit in 2026. And then we've got Uranus sextile Neptune, 25 to 27. On the 29th of the 8th is the first of the 5 hits. On the 20th of the 11th is the second of the 5 hits. Right, now you can see how the second half of this year has quite a lot of stuff in there. I guess that's because I'm looking at one of the formation actually that they have got into, which is there at this time. Now I'm just going to stop sharing that, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to an actual horoscope. Wait a minute. No, I'm not. 1 second. I am. I'm not. I am. It's somewhere around here because I've seen it. 1 second. Oh, there we are. Right. I'm going to share with you again now. Beg your pardon. Right. There we go. Okay. Share. Now, what we're looking at now is a horoscope for, well, today actually, July. I've removed all the planets except for these outer planets, so you can really see what's happening right at this moment, okay? And so what I've just shown you on that table is now in a picture form, a visual form. And so we've got this lovely sort of trine there, a sextile there, right? That is a really harmonious, friendly type of aspect of configuration between these planets. So obviously you've got Uranus here in Gemini, you've got Pluto there in Aquarius, and then in the middle here we've got Neptune and Saturn, both at the early degree, 1 or 2 degrees of Aries. So all in masculine signs, but mainly feminine planets. Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune are feminine planets. Just Uranus there, that's a masculine planet. Okay, so now I'm just going back to some more information on this. Right. Um, I've just, it's all right, I've got some notes here because I can't remember all this otherwise, all these dates and things. So we're talking about a new environment for these planets in the new zodiac signs, and that's the right phrase because this is exactly what it symbolizes. We have a cultural and political and sociological evolutionary change. And this has been fueled, of course, by the rapid pace of life because of rapid technological growth, which just gets faster and faster with every month and every year. That's fueling revolutionary pressures, which are affecting national beliefs, national opinions, cultural practices. And so we're going through this very fast paced change. So, for example, I mean, it's just a small example. In the UK, a brand new political party was born, and it's taken the number 2 position in our political parties within 2 years of its birth, which is impossible because they're too young, they have no experience, but they are being voted in all over the place. And so that's causing upheavals. And actually, I believe that when it comes to the USA, Elon Musk is threatening something similar in the United States, that kind of change. Okay, right. Now, let's just understand what these planets are all about. So, Uranus describes a revolutionary free spirit of humanity. It's a sudden awakening, a light bulb moment of ingenuity. And when we reach for the future and we want an unrestricted discovery, science, cutting edge science, reaching for the future, then that's very Uranian. That is what Uranus is all about. So Neptune's mission is to search for redemption, to search for a euphoric and ecstatic oblivion, to be honest. Neptune really kind of like is inimical to will and spirit. It kind of like fogs everything out. It just wants to go back to that blending with love, the great white light. So it wants to be with the unconditional love of deity and encourage a passive and pining and submissive experience. So it introduces us to longing and yearning for this soft encounter. Pluto represents the never ending cycle of life, the ruling principle of birth and death, which relentlessly purges and destroys to make way for improvement and new growth. Right, so when we put all those 3 planets together, they're describing the structures and the undercurrents and archetypes of humanity and civilization, basically. Now, these 2 planets are not just these planets are not just in changing environment. They're changing the way they talk to each other. Um, so our need for redemption, Neptune, is coordinating with humanity's ingenuity and willpower, Uranus, and the cycle of life with nature's need for constant improvement through birth and death, Pluto. Those 3 are coming together, and they are working in this very harmonious way. So they form this attractive pattern of very facilitating, supportive energy. And this is something that I see it as something very positive. Well, definitely it could be. However, if somebody's harmoniously planning a war, I just let's not go there. Um, the planets are, three of them are feminine. Feminine energy by nature can appear very benign. Um, if we think about feminine waters in the Bible with the generative, life-giving force of masculine hovering over the water, then we get the picture. It's what masculine does to the feminine to wake it up and activate it. However, beneath the surface of the water, feminine energy, gestation and evolution is unstoppable. We just can't see it, it's below the surface. So 2025 is bringing a period of evolutionary development. So this is when the river of the collective consciousness or unconsciousness is swinging in a new direction. And it's not aimless. This is not aimless. It's not hurried, and it's not without long-term planning. The feminine is all about long-term planning, not short-term, that's masculine, long-term planning. There's a cohesion in these planets from what I've shown you, and it could be symbolizing, and this is my theory, it's a new and developing epoch of the feminine, a new quality of feminine. And I really do mean that the feminine yin develops a new intelligence. Now, I'm going to back that up with some more evidence here. Now, as you know, I've been talking about the rise of the feminine since 2020. So for me, consideration of an evolving feminine sounds about right because I've been watching this stuff for so many years. Now, we have an asteroid called Pallas Athena, which represents mental activity and repressed feminine intelligence. Okay. Athena actually conjuncted Pluto in Aquarius on the 24th of February this year. And they will get together very close within 5 degrees on the 14th of October. So for all of that time, Pluto and Athena are in Aquarius, separating but then coming back together. Aquarius, right, that zodiac sign, this is the year of Aquarius with Pluto moving into it, but also there's movement in the actual zodiac sign of Aquarius, how we describe it. We are having to open up into new areas of discovery, and that's new areas of Aquarius. Okay, so going back to Pluto and Athena, this can't be a coincidence that these two are doing that this year. And I want to just quote Demetra George, actually, in her fantastic book, The Asteroid Goddesses, because she talks about the combination of Pluto and Athena. And she says, these two emphasize the power of ideas to transform reality. And that together they create ideas that will influence and transform. I'm going to rest my case with this one. So, Pluto represents the quantum realm, where particles have multiple potentials until observation forces a reality out of the potential of those particles. So, put simply, we can observe or reveal something into existence by observing it. The powerful combination of Athena and Pluto in Aquarius, supported by Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune, holds remarkable potentials. I think there is every possibility that we will discover a previously undetectable dark energy network. And it's going to have like a plasma-like electrical force or energy to do with it. On spaceweather.com recently, one of the astronauts on the space station photographed something that we have given the name Sprite to, which shows the connectivity of a thunderstorm with lightning around the Earth, the connectivity of that to space weather. Okay, extraordinary. This for me, we are going to this place where we will discover the electrical three-dimensional web, how everything is connected up. Do you remember the movie Avatar? It came out in 2009. And in it, it was suggested that there was a biological neural network which connected all life forms and nature to life forms. Well, I think we got a discovery coming which falls under the astrological rulership of Aquarius, and it will be very much about this. So lastly, babies born this year will carry this planetary generational marker. It was in their horoscopes for their entire lives, and it suggests that they will strain every sinew that they have got to live in a future of rebalanced attitudes to the intelligence of nature and the feminine in general. And lucky things will hopefully be able to be part of a human population that discovers this biological neural network with nature. I just think this is just amazing times. Now, obviously, there are other ways in which this everything is being impacted by this incredible astrology. And you will have noticed in your own life, there's some fast movement, but also there is great potential for you too to develop your intelligence, your I'm going to say psychic ability, your intuition. There is great opportunity for you to see more, feel more, hear more, commune more with nature, with the universe, and making changes in every way that is deemed possible or that you could. Changes, embrace them. You can't really stop a force like this, but you can alienate yourself or keep yourself away from the main energy, and then you're losing out because you're not moving with it and taking advantage of all the opportunities that come up. Okay, so I'm sorry that was so long-winded, but I really hope that this helps you to understand the later part that we're going into now of 2025, and you can take advantage of all that. Please don't forget the blog that I have written on my website so that you can look at this again. And thank you very much for listening, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.